Hi everyone, I'm Cadet Emily Rowley, your Professional Development Training Officer, and this is Aircast. This week we will be discussing field training preparation with Cadet Aaron Davenport and Cadet Nick Rosenbaum. Hello guys.
How's it going?
Yeah, hello.
What are your guys' jobs this semester?
I'm currently the safety officer for the wing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hanging out with Alpha Flight as their flight commander.
All right, yeah, that's why you're here.
Yep. Living the dream.
Okay, first question for you guys. How did you prepare for FTP? And you can talk about preparing for being flight commander and preparing to go to FT as well, Cadet Rosenbaum.
I'll take it first. I'd say I mostly just did my best to memorize the articles of the Code of Conduct before the semester started. But other than that, I didn't dive too deep into the FTM because I figured it'd be changing pretty soon to the start of the semester, so I just kind of focused on mentally preparing myself for FTP.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea, is memorizing the articles right off the bat, because that's kind of what you focus on mainly this first couple weeks.
Yeah. I
read the FTM from front to back for the 2020, kind of just because I had the time to, because I was on co-op. And I'd been out for a year, so I was like, why not do it? I actually had this plan that I was gonna reread it, but didn't get to that.
It's a real page turner.
Yeah.
Everyone loves sitting down and reading a good chunk of the FTM.
Invigorating.
Yeah, and I kind of just made sure that I was up to date on my warrior knowledge, because I'd been out for a while, so was a little bit behind on chain of command and stuff. I was really worried about drill because I hadn't done it for a year, but I'm okay now, I think. Got some practice in those 6 a.m. drill hours every Friday. Gotta love it.
Treasure
favorite time. Personally, I honestly can't remember anything in particular that I did. I probably should have done something, because those first few weeks are pretty rough. They sent us a warrior knowledge packet. I read that, but I think what I mostly did was I tried to organize my notes from the previous 3 semesters on different feedback that I'd gotten, and I tried to focus a little bit more on the leadership side rather than the warrior knowledge side, because that's definitely been something that I've noticed as flight commander is we have 15 weeks to teach you guys everything in that FTM. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of material, but it's not a ton of material, right? Mm-hmm. But we only have 15 weeks to teach you all the leadership stuff. So that was really what I tried to focus on, when I went through myself. But yeah, I wish I had a different system, because like I said, those first few weeks
I think
a little rough.
That's actually really great. That's definitely something I think I could benefit from myself, is going through my feedback and kind of consolidating that and making sure that I'm thinking about all areas of improvement when we're all gonna be thrown into some pretty crazy on the fly situations.
Yeah,
FT, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Definitely hadn't thought of that. I think all of the feedback I've gotten is on various sticky notes stuck to various places and binders.
Yeah, that's my issue too, is I've just got paper everywhere.
Yeah.
It's not organized.
It's not organized, but I can find it eventually.
Yeah, I have a notebook that I got for my first AS 100 class, and I'm still using that for AS class. But I have a tiny little notebook for FTP. So, what do you wish you knew before FTP, or for you, Cadet Rosenbaum, FT?
I wish I knew my flight members more. I know everyone kind of wants to blame not knowing each other very well on COVID, but that could have been easily remedied just by doing whatever. Could have done a lot of things. I probably only knew 4 people really well, so I knew their strengths and weaknesses, but the other 5 I hadn't even met Cadet Hale or Cadet Moreau before. They were 250s and pretty new, so.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as you, except for maybe a little worse, because I was out for a year, and I feel I didn't really focus on getting to know the 100s back in my first semester of 200 years. So yeah, I didn't really hardly know anyone, including you, Cadet Davenport.
I don't think I ever met you in my first semester.
Yeah.
I think I might have like seen you in passing like once. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think that something I wish I knew before going into FTP would be not like making it such a monster, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I think back to my first semester, or my first spring semester as a 100, and we were in the same fight, Cadet Rosenbaum.
Bravo.
Wait, I think
Not
it
Delta.
was Delta.
It was Delta dogs. Not dogs. Diesels. That's
Yeah,
what it was.
diesels.
Yeah.
Our like thing through the door was so weird.
Oh man, that's a blasphemy.
But I remember we were like sitting in the back, so focus wasn't even on us, and we were just kind of like, I remember that first leave that we were just in awe, sitting there staring at them, and they were just getting grilled.
Yeah.
And I think I remember Cadet Little being like, "Are you guys gonna talk or do anything?" And we were all just staring
Nobody
at
said
the
a word.
FTP cadets, and it just seems so terrifying to be them. But now that I have been them, I realize that it's really not that hard, not that big of a deal. Like, yeah, clearly you're gonna make mistakes. It's kind of impossible to be perfect.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, when they yell at you, then you kind of just have to figure out what you're supposed to do and then do it. And then you kind of move on. I kind of like that part about FTP where you kind of don't dwell on things for super long. If you mess up, you get yelled at or you get talked to in an elevated tone.
Yeah.
And then you try to fix it and you make a mental note of it. Hopefully you write it down later so that way you remember. And you really just move on to the next thing because there's really no time to...
You can't just linger.
Yeah, you really can't.
From back when I went through last year, I would definitely jump on what you guys were saying about getting to know my teammates more. I really wish I had spent a little bit more time getting to know them, because that's really what makes FTP a success, right? Is how you guys can kind of bounce ideas off of each other and help each other out. The flight commanders we do our best to make that happen, just kind of throughout the course of the semester. But it was definitely more I could have done when I went through FTP to kind of make that happen on my own.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there wasn't really one thing in particular. I just like you said, back from spring semester the previous year, I just kind of wanted to see what would happen.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, okay,
Yeah.
we watched this for 15 weeks. We saw how they reacted.
Uh-huh.
Let's kind of see how this class can kind of do things and
Yeah.
see what that dynamic is.
I was really tired of not knowing, and I think I feel the same way with FT right now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's honestly like, from the flight commander perspective, and people that struggle with either confidence or like they've got all these pent up nerves, and like this semester is what you make of it. If you spend the whole semester nervous, you're gonna be nervous the whole semester. I mean, like there's no two ways around that. So I mean, if you have a mentality like you guys just talked about, like okay, this is what it is. We have to learn these things, and we have to get ready for field training. And if you can kind of accept that fact that you're going to make mistakes and grow, and you'll grow a lot out of it too. Mm-hmm. But it's all in that mentality.
Yeah, I think I kind of have a unique perspective because I am a 300 and a lot of the FTP staff are also 300s. Mm-hmm. So I kind of get to like see from you guys that, I don't know, it doesn't feel like you guys are just yelling at us to yell at us. It feels like everything that you guys are doing is supposed to be giving us training value, and I feel like I could definitely appreciate that.
Sweet.
So
we're doing our job.
I hope that everyone else feels the same way, but yeah, I try not to get my feelings all bent out of shape about it.
If that's the mentality that you have, then it's not going to work out well. Mm-hmm. I mean, you got to be able to compartmentalize, like, okay, there's this training time, and then there's this personal time where you're getting to know people. And I think this was something our CTA said. It's not like the switch that they call it, the POC, you've always called it. It's not really a switch, it's more of a dial, mm-hmm. right? So it's not really like on or off. We're always trying to help you guys out and make sure that you guys are ready to go. It's just sometimes you do have that elevated tone and
yeah,
harping on.
Though, and we need that because that's what's gonna be like FT. I'm assuming never
it's
been.
It's gonna be probably a little bit louder.
A lot more going on.
Yeah. So, what has been the most difficult part about FTP?
I would say for myself, pushing myself to volunteer more. Because I have definitely been the person just kind of like sit back and let things happen. Don't exactly treasure being the middle of attention.
Yeah.
So that's like somewhere to grow, somewhere to push myself.
Yeah, that's good that you know that. I kind of go both ways on that, I guess. There's some days where I'm just like ready to go. I'm gonna volunteer for anything. But there's some days though, and seems to always happen on Friday at 6 a.m. where I'm just not so willing to volunteer.
Yeah. It's been a long week at that point.
Yeah. But I think that's something that's been difficult, and I think it's been difficult for our entire flight, is working together as a team and making sure that everyone's on the same page.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Just like communications tend to fly by quickly and then you get lost.
Yeah, it's almost like it's not that we're not communicating enough, it's that we might be communicating too much and like the actual important things kind of get lost in the details.
Yeah, especially on GroupMe.
Yeah.
GroupMe can get rough.
GroupMe gets rough. You lose that one thing that you needed to know, and just the conversation goes by, and you forget to scroll back up.
Yeah, like this week, Cadet Loeffler asked me to send out like the standardization for our rankings MFR. So I didn't really have time to rewrite one, so I just resent his, and I said use the same standardization on Wednesday, and then we were writing it this morning, and then everyone was asking me questions about it, and I was like, I said it in the GroupMe. But it's okay, because we're all here to help each other. I just think it's probably something that we should probably get a little bit better at.
Yeah.
It's honestly, that was something that I struggled with as well, as someone who's more of an introverted person. Like, maybe I don't necessarily have to be the loudest, but I still have to challenge myself to find or show motivation in another way. And like GroupMe's an easy answer. Like you can just, this is an opportunity for us to kind of come together, so I'll send a quick text. But like in the PMT time, it's a lot more difficult, or at least I thought it was, to kind of step out of my comfort zone a little bit. And honestly, I've kind of felt the same way as a flight commander, because like I think you said, not necessarily like comfortable being the center of attention or like talking all the time or things like that. But like with this job, you have to, because you have to communicate somehow. Otherwise, they're not going to know your thoughts and experiences, which is what I'm here to share.
Yeah, no, I think you're doing a really good job with that so far from what I've seen. Like, I really liked how you were able to like tell us some background on the general who said like the quote of the week, General Norman Schwarzkopf.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I like how you knew like information about it. It gives it kind of some background and substance.
Honestly, like that's one of the best ways to like memorize the quotes, is make them personal. Like, how does this fit into your life? And
that's what we do with our flight. We write a quote MFR every week explaining what the quote means to us. Yeah, it gets annoying sometimes.
It's an idea for you.
Might have to steal that,
yeah. But definitely, I do like thinking about the quotes and thinking about what they actually mean. Especially the ones where it's like, war is an ugly thing.
Yeah. I actually looked up that John Stuart Mill, and he's because I remember hearing the name in some history class, so that was a nice refresher.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy, it seems like. What has been your favorite part about FTP so far?
I would say either learning more drill, because I don't know, I find drill fun. It's kind of a weird hobby, but it's mine. And getting to know my flight, because I've never met like more than half of you before. So like, getting to know everyone and their quirks and their interests. It's just like really cool.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. That's something that I want to say too. I think that my favorite part so far has been getting to know everyone in the 200 class, because being an engineer, I came in with the 300s, and I'm still kind of in the 300 class because I'm in the AS 300 class. But I have definitely not really got to know you guys very well, and you guys are going to be the people that I graduate with. And my last year, it's just going to be me, the other co-opers, and you guys as seniors. So I have really seen this as a really great opportunity to get to know you guys more, and I think that I really have gotten to know you guys in my flight, at least our flight. I still don't know a lot of people in Alpha flight, but yeah, I feel very happy with getting to have that wingmanship with some people that I've never really got to have that with before.
I think the first half of this semester certainly like required you to get to know each other, but now it's like there and you can enjoy it.
Yeah, no, everyone, I really like everyone. Everyone's so excited. Everyone cares so much.
Yeah, it's kind of the beauty of this semester is like it's the pinnacle of the first half of your AFROTC career. Like all of the work, all the relationships, all the people that you've met, it all culminates here, right? And that was definitely something that I really enjoyed when I went through FTP, was like, this is the, I guess, thesis of like the first half of ROTC.
Really,
this is where it all comes together, and every skill, every note, every feedback point, like it's all got to come together here, because for 2 weeks in the heat of Mississippi, you got to show out and show off what you know. But as a flight commander, honestly, like, don't tell my flight I said this, but when a quote really sounds great, or like I see a really great suggestion come through, like somebody pops a hand up and gives just a fantastic suggestion that really helps somebody out, sometimes like I'm glad we have masks on, because I do honestly smile. And like those little moments when you can tell like the team is really gelling together, like you guys were talking about. Like it's really rewarding to see that from the other side, because like you said, you guys are going to graduate together, and like if those bonds can start to form now, and if the stronger they are now, they're only going to grow stronger with time. So you guys are honestly, like, you're setting yourself up for success down the road, when you don't have all the rest of the non-co-op 300s hanging around. Elevated toning at you guys.
Yeah, I think that what you said is very accurate, and it's going to be pretty important when we're like on wing staff one day, where we're squadron commanders, and it's going to be important for all of us to work together, so that way we have the wing running smoothly, so that way we can train the next FTP class and get them through field training, make sure everyone returns. What are you most worried about before going to FT, or were you worried about for you, Cadet Rosenbaum?
Honestly, I'm a pretty laid back person, so there was nothing that like kept me up at night, I guess. If there was one thing I was worried about, it was that like the COVID changes were going to make field training like nothing like we prepared for, which honestly, that was a stupid kind of thing to worry about, because honestly, like the way that we've trained people for years, like it sets you up for success no matter what, because of that flexibility piece. No matter what gets thrown at us, we're always ready at some level. But yeah, if I had to say something, I would probably say that. But like,
yeah, no, that's completely understandable.
Once it's a whole different ballgame once you get down to field training, though, because like there is that shock factor again that maybe you experienced with FTP, and you're with a whole different group of people. So not that like you should be worried about that, but it should be something that like is on everybody's mind. Like, okay, these skills that I'm learning now, I'm gonna have to transfer that, like copy paste from what I'm learning now to field training. And again, it's not something that you have to worry about. It's just something you have to keep in mind, because this team that you're on right now is not the only team you're going to work with the rest of your life. You're going to have to like transfer those skills at some point.
Yeah, for sure.
So that was just something I always tried to keep in mind.
Yeah, I can relate to that, certainly. Just like trying to take all these skills here and just like really internalize them so I can bring them field training and not just get like thrown off by the first couple of days. I say a secondary worry though is memorizing everyone's names. I'm really bad with names.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like you guys said, I'm definitely worried about making sure that I know everything and I know it so well that I'm able to teach it to other people.
Like I want to be able to help my team out.
We have no control over how prepared our flight mates are going to be when we actually get there. So, yeah, I guess I'm just worried about how it's going to affect the team.
Yeah.
But I think the best way we can prepare for that is just trying to be as prepared ourselves as we can, so that way we can help out other people when we get there.
Prep for the worst, hope for the best.
One other thing, though, that I am kind of worried about is showing up for those leadership positions and not, like, floundering under pressure. Because I'm totally someone that will do that. I will be completely prepared, warrior knowledge side, be completely prepared, know the previous feedback I've got it internalized. But when it comes time to shine, you only have so much time, and then the moment's passed and you either messed up or you didn't. And I find that really hard. But I think a way that I'm gonna set myself up for success for that is some advice that Cadet Lewis gave us, and she said to write down goals for each position you get for each leadership position, and I'd also like to write down like any type of responsibility that you have to do that it says in the FTM, so that way I don't have to try to recall it from memory. I can just have it and reference it, and I can really focus on the leadership aspect. Yeah, we'll see how that turns out.
Honestly, like, I was flight commander, which was the highest position because we didn't have squadron or group at our field training. I was flight commander TD2, training day 2, and training day 3.
Wow.
Or part of training day 3. So, like, there was still a pretty decent amount of, like, artificial chaos that they're trying to ensue when you first get down there. But the biggest thing that I took away from from that time, and something that I've tried to like pass on to Alpha, is you're right that there is like a time constraint, and you do have a lot to think about, and you have a lot to do in only a 24-hour day, right? And you got 8 hours of sleep and all the other things that have to go on. But honestly, like taking a deep breath and just taking a beat and thinking about like, okay, what do I have to do right now? What do I have to do? What's my next step and the step after that? And just thinking those 3 steps and just constantly like being on that track. That helped me out a lot because, like I said, there was still a lot going on. Training day 2, training day 3, a lot of things to get done, and just kind of slowing it down and just thinking about those 3 moments at a time and think, okay, I've got this moment, that moment, and the next one. What warrior knowledge or what training things have I been taught that will apply to those 3? And just limiting your sphere of influence, I guess, to that time frame, and don't worry about anything else, right?
Yeah.
It's only those moments that matter. That honestly helped me deal with the stress of it a lot because I limited my window of what I had to worry about, right? And I won't say the word, I guess I'll say it. I only cared about what happened in that window, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, nothing else mattered. And then
I think
that moment passed, then I'm worrying about the next one.
To look at it.
Just compartmentalize it, and then apply whatever appropriate knowledge. Like, you can't let the moment overwhelm you.
Yeah. Writing this down.
I mean, if you look at it as a 14-day block, like that can honestly be overwhelming. But if you look at it as like 14 individual days or 14 days with 3 meals apiece and you're just worried about getting to the next meal, or however you break it down, whatever works for you.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to help you, or I don't know if it'll help you, but it certainly helped me deal with the stress a lot better.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely something that I definitely want to think about, because I definitely get overwhelmed with how much I overthink things. And it's not that I'm just like overthinking something that's happening right now. I'm overthinking about everything that's happening in the future.
I mean, it's 100%, it's overwhelming. Like, there's just so much going on.
Yeah, so kind of just like lessening that view and staying calm.
Yeah.
So for you, Cadet Rosenbaum, what are some things that you felt you weren't necessarily as prepared for going to FT?
There wasn't a whole lot. We have a lot of great opportunities, and like our current 400s did a great job of training us. So we were prepared for a lot of field training. Like whether it's FLX or just what goes on in FTP, or the lead labs where we spend going over like land nav and TCCC, all that stuff totally prepares you for field training, right? And especially if you're reviewing those notes in addition to your FTM, like on the plane ride down or in downtime. And I think you guys even have like a built-in copy of all that stuff in the back of your FTM.
Oh yeah, I think so.
So you guys, it's a big leg up for you guys, because you know what they want you to know. Take advantage of that. But if I had to say one thing, I don't know if it'll be at Camp Shelby. I'm assuming it will, because it was a bigger leadership portion of our evaluation. It's called the Leadership Reaction Course. And I won't go into the specifics of it because that's kind of the fun, is reacting to the course. But it's basically a 3D GLP, where like a lot of GLP, it's like something on a sheet of paper and stuff you can do like with a small group. But like there's a lot of pretty neat obstacles, and
is
again,
it kind of like what we did at Camp Atterbury a little bit?
That was
like
that was the confidence course. There is one of those. That's not like an evaluation event. Okay. That's more. It's literally to build confidence and like, okay, here are these insane obstacles. Let's get through it, and like hopefully you'll have confidence by the end that you can do these incredible physically demanding things. The reaction course is more of, how do I say this without like spoiling it?
I feel like this is my idea of it based on what you've described so far. So it's kind of like you have similar like obstacle things like that confidence course, but you have like objectives like with your team.
More like mental obstacles.
Getting through this.
Mental and physical like barriers, obstacles, things like that. I really hope they have one at Camp Shelby, and I hope it's as fun as...
Yeah, honestly, that sounds really fun.
But honestly, like we have a lot of good GLPs, and really that's the skill that you have to transfer over. It's just how well you can do a GLP in a specific time frame. That's the best way to prepare for it. I mean, it's nothing to worry about, but I guess if I had to pick something, I would say like the physical obstacles, I guess.
I definitely struggle with those two-dimensional GLPs for sure. It's just, it's hard for me to realize like what we're doing sometimes.
Yeah.
Another question for you, Cadet Rosenbaum. What are some things that you did really well at when you were at FT?
Honestly, nothing like jumps out at me, I guess. One thing, like the relationships that you form with those people, that was honestly the best part. And that was something that I guess I developed those relationships quickly. So my time at FT was easier because like I knew my people, or I knew the people I was with better, and like we were able to help each other out. Being flight commander early on definitely helped with that, because like you have a structured staff of like, okay, I need you to help me with this, I need you to help me with this. But my roommate as well, he goes to North Dakota State. He's prior enlisted. He was Cadet Vertus.
In case he ever listens.
Yeah, shout out Cadet Vertus if you're listening. But that really, like, our friendship, that was really special and important. And that was something like just right out of the gate you can go with. They're your roommate, they're your bunkmate, suite mate, whatever it is, however it's set up. That's something that's a bond you can instantly form.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, just communication with the team in general was, I guess, something
that was okay had a strength. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, you had to have been doing something right because they invited you to go back.
Yeah, I'm actually, like, the video that Cadet Geisen showed you guys with the town and how Camp Shelby was set up, that fired me up to go back. I'm really looking forward to knowing what goes on at field training and how
you'll get the best of both worlds there.
Oh yeah, and how that video.
Maxwell and Shelby.
You'll be there all the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the plan. That was what I signed up for, so I'm fine with that. But I think there might still be a chance of, like, they split it half and half. But I don't know.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm definitely fired up.
Hopefully I see you there.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully you yell at me for not greeting you.
There's so many good jobs too, from the CTA side. Like, just everything that you do, from what I've seen and heard, is like, it's just so valuable. So yeah, if you guys get that opportunity, I'd recommend jumping on it. It seems like it's going to be a pretty sweet time.
Yeah, I know. I think you might be a little more excited, but
I'm
definitely excited.
I'm fired up.
Okay, so what are some disadvantages of going through FTP with COVID?
Well, the obvious one would be not so much face-to-face.
Yeah, exactly.
I think, that's a lot of time that, you don't have to, like, really practice it in the moment. So I think the first couple weeks were mostly, like, a mental game of, like, trying to, like, figure out, like, how to really treat it. And now we're kind of getting into that in-person mode where we're figuring out the intensity and kind of what to do. And I know, like, you and, like, Cadet Lewis are doing their best to give us our best experience this semester, and, like, I can see the effort and I appreciate it a lot. I'm trying to, like, milk every moment for everything I can.
Yeah. I think that we're definitely kind of on, like, a delayed
start.
Maybe, just because I feel like what we kind of experienced the past 2 weeks at Lead Lab is something that maybe we would have probably experienced, like, the first couple weeks. Because I know we had one in-person Lead Lab towards the beginning of the semester, and I feel like I was flight commander, and I feel like it was not nearly as difficult as what was going on, like, the past couple weeks.
I definitely agree. Like, compared to, like, what I, like, saw last year and, like, this semester, I feel like it's, like, kind of like at, like, a lower intensity by default. And I don't know if that's because I'm older now and I've got a different perspective.
Right, and also, like, we know less, so they can't yell at us for what we're messing up now, because, we were messing that stuff up, but we were messing up, like, way more before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Honestly.
And you kind of have a different perspective because you started out as...
That's true, yeah.
In person, and you switched online.
I'm kind of torn because I do see what you guys are saying, and, like, it's so unpredictable, and, like, not everything goes exactly to plan. But I heard this, I think it was Simon Sinek who said this a while back, like, when COVID first started. It was like, what day is predictable,
Exactly,
and, like, when can you ever accurately predict, like, tomorrow, X, Y, and Z will happen exactly? So...
My calendar says never.
Exactly, yeah. Like, I think there's been a lot of creativity that has had to come out. The negative side of that is, like you guys said, it kind of does take a little bit of time to, like, implement that creativity. We don't have that set structure that we used to. We're like, okay, week 1, we're going to be in Lindner, and we're going to be teaching these things, and it's been laid out for X number of semesters before that. We kind of have to reinvent the wheel a little bit. But, again, I'm still torn because, like, obviously not from an illness standpoint, it's not an excuse. If you're sick with COVID, obviously that's, like, it's not good. But, like, from the restrictions that have been placed, like, I don't want to use that as an excuse for,
right.
Oh man, we can't do X, Y, and Z today because
it's
of COVID.
Totally not an excuse.
There's a way that it can be done, and I mean, it's happened both last spring, last fall, and now this spring. Like people have been finding creative ways to get stuff done the whole time.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, I don't want to use it as an excuse, but like. There is a lot of creativity that has to happen, which is great, but at the same time, like there is a little bit of a delayed start. But as long as you guys in the end get what you need to get out of it, I think it'll still be a success.
Yeah, I think that there is kind of like some things that we just can't do. But that's more in the sense that the way we've done it, we can't do it.
Yeah.
We can come up with ways to do it differently and still deliver that training value.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we just have to be creative.
100%.
So I feel like you were kind of leading into this almost a little bit, Cadet Riz and Bob. What are some advantages of going through FTP with COVID? Do you see what I mean?
Honestly, like the creativity and the flexibility that you just naturally get from like, okay, we have to figure this out now. We can't use the old game plan. That whole playbook's in the trash. Not because it wasn't valuable, but because like we just can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
So I know personally I've definitely learned like, okay, how do I have to think outside the box in order to get Alpha Flight the same training value that we got in a whole new environment. And hopefully that teaches you guys flexibility where you guys are like, okay, here was my expectation, it was here, and now something else is happening that's not in line with my expectation, so you gotta be flexible and deal with that. So I think honestly that could be a benefit to you guys, because that flexibility you're learning at now versus at field training, and when you get down to field training you're just immediately able to flex because that's all you've been practicing this past semester.
Yeah, definitely an advantage. I also like what you said about like reinventing the wheel, and I feel like maybe because we've been doing so well for how many ever years, maybe like taking another look at our training will just make it better. And maybe we weren't forced to because we were doing so well, but now we are because of unforeseen circumstances.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I second that wholeheartedly. Like, this whole semester has just been like one big exercise in adaptability and trying to find new creative ways to do things. And last semester too, I think the difference is that last semester, I think the majority of us spent most of it kind of being like a little bit down about the situation, kind of like wishing it was still going back to normal, and now like we just have to like get used to it and like find the good parts of a situation that you might not necessarily like, but it's your situation now.
Yeah. That was something I told Alpha. I don't remember when. Honestly, that's one of the negative sides of my job is like I talk so much to Alpha. I don't remember what I said or when I said it. I don't know how they can.
They might.
I don't. If they can, good on them. But like with COVID, we know our left limit. We know where we can't go. Right? Now we got to think outside the box and figure out, okay, we know we can't go in that area, the gray area. What can we do? And that was kind of what I was trying to get at with the excuses point, was like, okay, you can't do the old way. No one can. Let's move on.
It's the biggest year of change your perspective from half empty to half full.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that really goes for everything, honestly. Everything that's been going on right now. But since neither of you guys have said it yet, I'll just say it. It's an advantage to not have to bring blues.
Oh my gosh. Honestly.
You're right, I forgot.
That news, when we got our revised FTM and we didn't have to bring blues, our group chat blew up. Like, oh my gosh, did you guys see this change? Like, everyone was losing their mind.
I think ours did too when it was like reconfirmed. And we're like, don't have to bring blues, guys.
Oh yeah.
Don't worry about your shoes.
Really just one thing off your plate.
Huge advantage.
Yeah, and then the ORI, that's kind of...
It's
kind of cool.
It's kind of amazing.
I like how we don't have to memorize all that stuff right now.
One less thing on your plate.
Yeah, and that means maybe the other things are gonna be or like have more weight in the evaluation, but we just have to make sure that we are using that extra bit of brain power to focus on the things that we are gonna be evaluated on.
Mm-hmm.
But I think one more advantage of going through FTP right now is I think that we are all more grateful for our time in person.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because it can be a lot when you're just go.
Yeah.
And you might forget why you're there.
Mm-hmm.
But every time we're there, I think, this is my time to prepare myself and get as much training as I can. So
I feel like that's why our flight kind of got so close so quickly, because you only have so much time together, so you like really have to make it count.
Make it click quick.
Yeah, and I was honestly, this is week 8 that we're recording this. I was really excited about squadron marching yesterday. I thought it was
today.
It was today.
No. Oh wait, no. Yeah, you're right.
Campus marching.
Campus marching.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Oh yeah, no, I like the squadron marching. Yeah, but I was
gonna
really
say no one's
excited
excited about squadron marching.
Yeah, that was rough. I did not realize that I was volunteering to be flight commander for like the whole drill hour. But it's
up until the last
like
15
that.
minutes.
It's like that, yeah. But I did really enjoy campus marching yesterday. It was just kind of fun.
Yeah, it was really great.
Yeah. It was a little cold.
It was nice to like get outside. It was a nice day, so that was nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was. It really was.
I think that was one of our last lead labs before we went virtual, was our campus march.
I think I remember that.
And like that was just a huge crash course in like not only drill, but like how do you react when you literally hit a wall or
we
have
were
your
in
flight
quite
stairs.
a
Yeah,
yesterday.
Get stuck in a roundabout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It teaches you so much more than like what drill in a confined space does.
It really does.
I think everyone knows the parking garage by heart by now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What are some lessons you have learned so far?
Okay, I have a little bit of a list of short phrases.
All right, let's hear it.
So I've got know your people, having a reason behind every action you do, or try to at least.
Yeah, and that's something that.
And if you don't immediately, then like find one.
Yeah,
I guess.
she like really tries to make sure that we're always thinking about that.
Managing like your own emotions, which kind of plays into like the shock and like how you take things in, which I think can help with like how you really like process stuff and learn better from them. You might have something right, but you can always do something better. Mm-hmm. And just wingmanship is like the linchpin of everything.
Yeah, really. I think that a couple lessons I've learned so far is really kind of just an expansion on attention to detail. I'm very much a perfectionist and have to have every little thing in order. I'll probably spend hours editing this. It's really something else when you have to make sure everybody else is having that same attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of been fun. Going through people's MFRs like a couple hours before they're due and whiteouting. But yeah, no, I think that I really like having things that are important and that we need to know, because I don't know, that's kind of just what gives life value. And then also just making sure everyone's on the same page and like transferring, like we were talking about this earlier, Cadet Rosenbaum, but like transferring your like feedback or like things that you realize are going wrong. So like if you realize something went wrong, then you gotta remember to tell your flight what went wrong and how you guys can fix it, or else the mistake is probably gonna happen again. And there's been times where I've kicked myself because I forgot to say something. Like at PT on Wednesday. No. There's no PT on Wednesday.
PT by yourself.
I am sounding so crazy. But PT on Tuesday, we didn't go to parade rest before we joined up with the wing at the beginning of PT. And I meant to just, after PT, get the flight gathered around and say, guys, we have to go to parade rest before we join up with the wing. And I forgot to do that, and then we did the same thing on Thursday, and now we have to write an MFR for it. So that's what happens. So yeah, just making sure that you don't forget to tell your team what you realize you guys did wrong and like how you guys can do better. Yeah. Because you are a team. You know, it's not enough for you to know it yourself, because more than likely you might not be the one leading. So. Yeah.
That was something that I definitely learned, like I said, as more of an introverted person, was that like everyone on the team's voice and opinion, it's going to be valuable to somebody else, because like you said, if it's not said by you, then it might get forgotten by somebody else. And even that reminder is really valuable. But as a flight commander, something that I've like, the biggest takeaway I've had is like last semester I was PFO, and all I had to worry about really was my team, because I had a decent sized team working with me, but B, I had to worry about PT and what happened in those 2 hours of the week and what all the events leading up to that, and I was responsible for that team and that event, and that was pretty much it. This semester, like in the FTP flight commander role, there's just like, we have to worry about lead lab, we have to worry about PT, we have to worry about you guys and how you guys are doing academically, physically, emotionally. Like there's just so much more. So kind of getting out of that tunnel vision mindset, we're like, all right, this is what I got to focus on, this one thing right here. That was probably the biggest challenge for me, was making that pivot.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's honestly, but that pivot, it's necessary, because that's what leadership is. It's not one event, it's everything.
Yeah, and that's what you'll need to know when you go into the big Air Force.
Yeah.
All right, so last question. What is your favorite quote, and can you please explain it?
I have one from my mom, actually.
Oh,
she's being
I
quoted.
love that.
Yeah. No, so hers is, she said at one point, I don't know if she's repeated it since then, I'd rather have an ugly truth than a beautiful lie, which I wholeheartedly agree with. I think honesty is probably my number one value, like on a personal level, or any level really, because you can't really have anything else if you're not honest about it.
Yeah.
It was like really driven home in my childhood, because like, you know, you're like a little kid and you tell your little white lies to get out of trouble, but it like probably struck me like right around 5th grade, because she was just like, I have no trust in you. You've lost all of it. I was like, oh no. And I just felt so disappointed in myself. And she was like, you're going to have to earn it back. I was like, how long is that going to take? She's like, I don't know. It's up to you.
Oh my god, this sounds like so much like FTP.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, when you grow up, you start telling those lies to yourself. And it's so important that you don't do that.
Yeah. It's not what I have written down, but that reminds me of something that somebody I used to work for said, was like, people don't mind bad news, but they hate surprises. And you can kind of look at a lie as like a surprise when you find out, at least, like, oh my gosh, you lied to me? What the heck?
Yeah.
But like, if you just dealt with that bad news right then and there, and you were up front and like explained things well, or explained them at all, like you can get out of so much unnecessary pain and struggle.
The mess is less.
Yeah, 100%.
So important to be transparent.
Yeah, 100%. But the one I've written down from the FTM, because got to rep the brand, is the General George Marshall quote, there's no limit to the good you can do if you don't care who gets the credit. And like I've said, as someone who's a little bit more of an introverted person, I honestly, with that tunnel vision mindset, like I can kind of I just want to get the job done. And if there's credit that goes along with that, if there's not, who cares? Let's just get the job done. And that's kind of been something that I've thought a lot about this semester because, like I said, that the job has expanded. There's so much more to think about and worry about. And at the end of the day, like, if there's no like credit or anything that would like make it rewarding, but what would make it rewarding is like seeing you guys succeed and seeing you guys make it happen. There's no like speech or amount of applause. It's gonna, yes, it was all worth it. All the 15 weeks of field training, preparation, flight commander, like that's not gonna make it all come together. But what will is like watching you guys actually make it happen, and get through field training and then come back and be ready to roll.
Yeah, I really like that. I think that's a really important mindset to have as you go through life.
Yeah.
Never forget it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for taking the time to talk with me today and coming on the show.
You're very welcome.
It's a blast.
Yeah, I hope you guys had fun.
Yeah.
If anyone listening has any questions about what we've talked about at all, please reach out. I know that we would all be happy to continue the conversation and give you any advice or any insight into what's been going on in FTP this semester so far, or last semester, like for Cadet Rosenbaum. Okay, Aircats, well, remember to fly, fight, and win, and I will catch you next time on Aircast.